We're 50 points off the track, baby.
In Japan, where the sun will always shine, traditions collide with the future's line. Through city streets and temples high, find your story beneath the sky. Waves spread, walking our sense, harmony flows to the best of lands. With the neon glow, where is best, the culture rich, where is sense. In the morn of grace, we'll dance the night with every star, a guiding light. In Japan, where the sun will always shine, traditions collide with the future's line. The cherry lanes and soaring heights, find your magic in the moonlit nights.
Oh, righty, guys. Before I do anything, there is a thing going on this week, called the Steam House and Home Fest. So, so anything related to like building simulators, a lot of these things that you can see, like House Flipper, Power Wash Simulator, like there's some stuff here that you guys can check out. But that's not what we're here today for. We're here to play some Euro Truck Simulator 2. And I'm going to tell you, for a lot of you, I said 13 yesterday. I know that, but I have some issues that came up that need to actually, like, some breaking news on things that need to be said. And that need to be done and need to be said on a level that needs to be done, and stuff like, you know, we have a lot of this breaking some breaking stuff that needs to be done with it. And the biggest one, the biggest thing with breaking news is that we have the trans community being targeted again. So I wanted to really come in and share that. Mobile crane there. I'm going to used packaging for $1 million for that one. Total distance though, very distant, so half of this time. Even that though is giving us more money. Is giving us more money than this here. And it is taking less time. A little bit less time for us to do it. So we'll take this Now hopefully, now I can't take it actually because my truck's not even there, so we'll just take the second best because I don't want to take something that's going to give us these things. But anyway, we have a lot of things to talk about and things that are there. Not only do we got some breaking news with the trans community, but we also got some other news that is really pertaining to places like Gavin Newsom being tormented by Trump because of whatever, and a whole host of other things, including Nebraska putting up somebody that is a Republican and not a Democrat. So there's a lot of things going on with that, and a whole host of other things, but mostly oh, that's going all the way out that way. Oh, I do check my YouTube chat, Glass. I'm just not responding to you. Because for one thing, I will not shut up what I talk about anyways, to be honest. I won't. And if you don't like it, then you can always leave the chat. Leave the chat room. Do whatever you want, but it's your choice. But I'm not going to change what I speak about. And if you don't like it, that's fine. It's basically not for you. And that's fine. But oh, and also I will start basically, if you cannot speak English, because it is one of those things that I don't care. I am somebody that if I can't understand the words, then you're pretty much basically, I'm not going to respond to you because I don't understand your language, and you can speak all you want, and you might get yourself into some trouble with that on my end. And am I being whatever? Then it's your choice. I'm just telling you that I'm not going to sit here and hope I didn't. But anyway. So, anyway, uh, just remember the things that I do say around here. It's basically, it's common etiquette around YouTube, to be honest. Common etiquette, common things. Actually, because we're going around turns a lot, I'm gonna reduce speed by a little bit. Hold on. I need... Like, I can see YouTube chat, Glass. I can see YouTube. I can see chat from both sides. From both sides of the channel. I can see YouTube. I can see TikTok. I can see whichever chat is there. No, I don't have to get good at learning Spanish, Glass. Because apparently I don't have to get good at learning another language. I don't have to learn another language. I'm not gonna sit there and learn another language that I don't want to learn. Because if then you need to get good at learning Japanese, because eventually I probably will be speaking Japanese at some point. And you will not be able to understand me, because I will be speaking only in Japanese. At some point. So at some point, learning a language and learning one or the other, you want me to learn another language, and you're gonna have to learn another language as well with me. So, because eventually this channel will be English and Japanese, and I will prioritize Japanese over English. And if somebody comes in speaking English, I will still talk in English with them, but that'll be about it. Because that's how I want to roll around here. I want to actually start speaking another language, so that if something does come into an issue of somebody who doesn't quite understand the language because they don't want to learn, that's their problem, not mine. And just to be clear, right now it's only English, because that's the only thing I can speak, and that's the only thing I can read. So, English, motherfucker, English. I shouldn't have to learn another language just to be able to speak with somebody. So, nice, I discovered a recruitment agency, which is actually a good thing, because I have at least now a couple of places where I can recruit people. Freight market. Used packaging is pretty much basically the only thing that we have here. Which is understandable. Not every Not everything is going to be what you want it to be. And to be honest, if you want to speak another language, you can go speak another language on another person's channel. Because that's the thing that I don't like around here is if you, this is my channel, this is how I set things up. If I choose to decide that you are wanting to break certain rules, I can block you or time you out or suspend you based on however I feel like for the day, most of the time. Most of the time. Doesn't mean I won't. Doesn't mean that I'm not gonna do those things. I have blocked a few people that aren't even in my channel, that will probably never show up in my channel, but I do block them occasionally, and because that's how I do things around here. If my values break on somebody else's channel, because not necessarily, I don't block other people from. I still follow their rules and still follow their things. I don't necessarily block a lot of people from other people's channel, but there has been a few that have been, and only one person really, to be precise, has been blocked multiple times, and not because, just because of the values that I hold around here. I give people that chance anyway, and I give the chance for people to follow the rules around here, but it's one of those things. Glass, I do not. You're the one that's gonna maybe start losing me as a. You're gonna be somebody that could be somebody out there is losing as a friend. No, I don't hate Hispanics. I don't hate people like that. It's the point of the matter is, Glass, I don't hate people based on how they look, based on how they do. It's if I cannot understand you, speaking one language or not being able to speak it, then that's the whole point. I'm not going to sit there and try to learn another language just to be able to speak with one person. Because I guarantee you, then go and speak, go and talk to a Japanese person and speak to them in Spanish, in an actual manner. You're gonna get some things that they're not gonna be able to, might not be able to understand you. So, and a lot of people aren't gonna sit there and willing to learn another language. There are a lot of people in this world that will not learn another language because they don't want to learn. They want to stick to what they know and stick to learning that, and that's their choice. I'm not, like I said, I'm not gonna sit there and learn Spanish because you want me to learn Spanish, because you want me to learn this, you want me to learn that, you want me to do this. I'm gonna learn with what I want to learn, what I want to learn, and not be forced into telling other people to do things. Like I'm telling you, I'm changing a lot of things. Like I'm saying, I myself, instead of utilizing you should, I is going to be instead. And to be honest, a lot of people will say, oh, you dislike a, it's just like the other thing. It's like, you know, disliking a band because that band's horrible for you. Let me be clear, there are a lot of bands out there that I will say no to because that's just who I am. It doesn't mean that I dislike that band. It doesn't mean that I dislike the genre of music. It doesn't mean I dislike this or that. It's just because I decided that if I like this band, I like this band, and a lot of people will thank me for it. Will say, "Oh yeah, it's their choice." But I will tell you, there are only a handful of things that I will say that I will never ever touch ever again. And to be honest, I'm not gonna say those things around here because it's your choice. But I will tell you, if a brand out there, you know, for me, I've shifted a lot of my brand loyalty to certain brands and things because of things out there. And I'll tell you, I switched because of what Microsoft is doing, because of what they're doing with their product. That's why I'm on Linux. That's why I'm not on freaking Windows unless I absolutely have to necessarily be on Windows. On Windows. I like Nickelback. You may hate Nickelback, but I like Nickelback, and I'm sorry, but that's the thing. A lot of people will say, "Oh, I hate Taylor Swift," but I like Taylor Swift. It's the same mentality. I will tell you. I said I don't like. Somebody else may say I don't like Imagine Dragons, but I love Imagine Dragons, kind of thing. It's that point. It's those people have different tastes, different things with their taste and their just things that they like in their own personal life. It's like me telling you have to eat sushi 24/7, that you have to eat sushi, that you have to love it, that you have to do these things, and it's not that and you shouldn't be forced to eat something you don't like. Shouldn't be forced to do those things. Now, of course, there are a few things that I will say that you really need to change and change the way that you do things around in your daily life. But there's only a handful of things, and that's just one. Stop judging other people because they like something that you don't, and telling them that they hate this band or hate this or hate that or dislike that, or you're not going to be friends with that person because of those simple disliking food or disliking a band or disliking this or disliking that is one thing. The one thing that I will tell you that you'll not be around here is if you are somebody that is willing to willing to take away on human rights. Those are the things that I tend to will block you immediately, because I'm not going to sit there and argue with you on LGBTQ. I'm not going to sit here and argue on those issues unless I am literally talking about it and you're not getting the point. If you're not getting an understanding of the point, then it's time for you to leave. Those are the things that I block people for, that I ban people for, is everybody gets a warning, everybody gets 3 chances around here. Everybody gets a chance to do things, but I basically give you 3 strikes and then you're out. And that. So, with very within those reasons. 3 strikes, you basically get a timeout for X time. After that, then you will get a you get it 3 times. You get a longer timeout for each one. Unless it is breaking TOS or breaking YouTube or breaking Twitch's rules, then I will pretty much basically then of course then I will block you intentionally and report you, because you're breaking TOS and I'm not going to have it. Those are the things that I tend to do with. But anyway, there's a lot of things that do, and to be honest, I'm going to tell you, using swearing fine, you can swear here, but just remember that if I start feeling if I start seeing that you're using it like on a every sentence, every word, unless, you know, I do it too. I'm not. This is something that sometimes I do break that rule, because it's one of those rules that's the lax rule. But if I start like basically saying that you're swearing consistently, then yes, of course, you're gonna have to get yourself into that, because I'm gonna basically put my foot down. This is afternoons are pretty much a 13 plus channel. 13 plus in the afternoon and 18 plus at night, because of the things that I play and the things that I do around here on that. So basically, if it's, you know, I follow a 13 plus rule in the afternoon, where yes, I talk politics, but I try to keep it necessarily roughly a 13 plus around here. On politics, it's not perfect. Sometimes that's why I have sensitive topic of politics. This is why when I set things up Twitch, I have it talking politics, and that's how things go. At that, but I need to check and refresh real quick. Glass, I do not hate you speaking Spanish. I don't hate people speaking Spanish. Okay, I'm literally telling you that if I can't understand you, then I'm not gonna sit here and go through using Google Translate to translate something just to understand things. Just to understand you. And of course, oh yeah, that's right, because I came in, from down here. I pretty much had to go up, and I have to go around and then go this way. So yeah, I'm doing it right. I don't hate people, Glass. I don't... Look, my mom's learning how to speak Spanish herself. Do you think I really hate Spanish people? No, I don't. I know, Glass, but I just don't want to sit there and learn another language that, you know, that I should have to learn. I shouldn't have to learn something to be able to speak with somebody. It just like, Glass, just like, okay, so then ask me this. Go live abroad in another country that does not speak English, that does not speak Spanish, and then come back and go live there for a year, or go visit for God knows for it, and for 10 days, 15 days in another country that does not speak English or Spanish, and guess what? You will have the exact same thing I'm going to tell you. Some people just don't want to learn, and it's not that they don't hate people, it's not that they don't hate these things. It's the fact of the matter is they just don't want to learn another language. And let me be clear, if that was the same thing, guess what? A lot of people in Malta are complaining that people are not willing to speak Maltese because most of their population now is speaking English. Because heaven forbid that we shouldn't give up on learning. It's like the Native Americans. People don't seem to really understand that Native Americans have another language. But guess what? That the Navajo and the people of there are Indian Native American languages that are being spoken here in the United States. Speaking that, but those things, but people are complaining that in the United States that we're coming here and putting English as its primary language, forcing it as to being a national language, when this country was never founded upon English. This country was built upon people Native Americans who were here in the United States before we were. Speaking those languages should be the priority then. And you should have to learn how to speak those languages then. It's not me hating on Hispanics. I don't care. I sit and I will tell you, I sit and I listen to other people from other countries. Guess what? Most of the people I watch are speaking English. That doesn't mean that they also don't speak another language, because I will watch another guy that speaks 2 languages. At least. I watch another one that speaks fluently in multiple languages. It's not me hating on these languages. It's me not wanting to really learn, and wanting to have to learn to speak another language because you came in your class. This is the same thing that you keep doing every time, that you're claiming that I am racist on this when I'm not. I am never once said that. Because if that was the case, I probably wouldn't be within my church that has multiple languages, that speaks at least, that has a Spanish-speaking book, that has Spanish-speaking and other Japanese and other languages within it. So no, I do speak. I do not hate. I have multiple people from other countries that have that I can, but it's the one thing is, like, I'm not gonna sit, like, I could easily just stop learning Japanese right now and just not want to learn another language. Guess what? There are a lot of people here in America that will say the exact same thing, and guess what? It's not my decision to have to learn another language just for somebody to speak. If you can speak English and you're going to speak it, I'd prefer you speak English because that's my first language. I'd prefer that. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to say no to learning another language. No. If I was going abroad to go to another country, I would damn well want to actually learn how to speak that language. Okay? I want to learn to be able to actually visit. But remember, that's the whole thing with all of this. It's people not wanting to, and it's the same thing. There are a lot of people that will not want to learn about LGBTQ because they hate it, because they've been grown up with that and they don't understand it. It's the same thing when people come in and say that immigrants shouldn't be allowed in this country. It's literally one of those things that tomorrow, actually, or Wednesday, I can't remember, one of the days, April 1st, basically, that they're going to end birthright citizenship. And guess what? Birthright citizenship means that could possibly be ending. And to be honest, that's one of those things that you can, that is going to be really harming America. And guys, if I am so, and if I am so hitting on that, then I would also be saying you shouldn't be able to get married. Glass. Nobody should be able to get married unless they're same sex. That's not right. That's not me saying you have to go do something. You have to go and do this. I'm not racist for anything, Glass. You just assume that. You just rush to that conclusion. Because one, you expect see, Glass, you're right there. That's the whole thing. You expect somebody to learn Spanish, and then they don't expect to learn Spanish, so then you call them racist for it. That's not right. Stop calling people racist because they don't want to learn a language. Stop calling people these things because they don't like what you like. That is the epitome of hate, is forcing other people to follow your path. Yes, I may have said those things in the past, but it takes time. But it takes time to learn and actually grow and understand that it's my choice and it's what I like and that's how I'm going to do it. It's just like, it's that same thing. Because it's the same thing as like, oh, you expect everybody to like Kansas City, to Kansas City barbecue, to liking barbecue that is there, and some people will say that it's the worst thing in the world because it's their choice. They don't like it, they don't have to agree with it. And saying that you have to be telling people, oh, Kansas City barbecue is the best, absolutely the best barbecue in the world, and it's not. To be honest. But then you're kind of racist for telling people that they hate Kansas City barbecue. So, and telling people that, oh, that you're racist for saying people hate for people hating Spanish music, because that's basically being racist right there. I'm not being racist. I never said I didn't dislike Spanish people. I never said I didn't dislike any other races. Glass. It's just I prefer to speaking English than speaking Spanish or speaking another language. And I'm going to tell you that that's the whole point. Then go learn Glass. Then I'm going to tell you, then go learn Japanese. Go learn the hardest languages in the world, and you will still go and experience a country that is still kind of racist. Japanese culture is more racist than I am, to be honest. If you're not, basically they are racist because if you are not fully 100% Japanese, people will consider you not Japanese. Just because you have Japanese blood in you does not mean that doesn't make you automatically Japanese. They basically have literally, it's that same culture. They also go and poke at you for being fat. They pride their people to being a particular way, and that's how they have it. And that to me is just not right. But at the same time, you go to that country, a lot of people get angry at foreigners because they ruin their culture, because they ruin their way of life, or because they break these rules and they don't get. Some people just don't get in trouble for it. It's the same thing. You come to the United States, you're expected to learn the ways that certain things need to be done, but not everything here in America is done in a way that, you go and you live in Texas, you go to live in Texas. Texas is going to be different than where you live currently in Kansas, or currently live in New York, or Missouri, or Minnesota, or wherever. But most of the time, you go and you experience that you go to these places. There's different cultures in these different places, and even in the United States. You live in Missouri right now, closest to Kansas City. Well, but then you also go look at St. Louis. St. Louis is going to be different culturally than Kansas City, or culturally because you live in another place. It's just what we've learned and what we've come to expect in these different places. You're expected to understand that. It's like you come to America, you're expected to speak English, but that doesn't mean you have to speak English. You can speak another language. That's fine. But you're expected to at least know English. Expected. Doesn't mean, because the United States does not have a national language. To be honest, we've set this that most people say it's English here. That's what you believe. That's what you want to believe. And that's your choice. And you can believe it that way, because if I was specifically being that way, sometimes people have to change, people have to be willing to learn and grow. And to be honest, class, I specifically have told you this many times. And I've told you that if something ever came to the United States where I had to leave, I would tell you that I would at least try and go to a couple other countries. I have like 5 other countries in the world that I'd actually travel to that are not specifically because of their racist, because of Hispanics or whatever. Okay? I have at least a few countries on my mind, and one of those countries is a Spanish-speaking country. So if you're really thinking that I really would that I'm hating Hispanics, no, it's not. And no, it's not Mexico, it's not Guatemala, it's not these southern countries that you think, because a lot of it has to do with understanding and actually knowing what laws and what things are taking place in these other countries, because I would like to have at least somewhat similar to the United States in some regard to some things. And that's the thing. And a lot of times, Glass, you think that I hate Hispanics because they're that. No, I don't. I absolutely know I watch a few people that actually, technically I watch one guy that actually lives in Spain. Do you think I am literally hating on Hispanic people? No. I also occasionally watch people on YouTube that are of a different colored race than me. I watch people that are Japanese. I watch people that are living in another country that's not even part of the United States. I mean, that aren't black, but I watch a black person from Iceland that lives in Iceland right now. I learn and I study different cultures, and I have these things. And if you don't think I do, I always have 2 channels that I watch content on, because I just basically naturally just subscribe to some channels on my secondary channel and some on my main YouTube channel. And of course, I've cleared a lot of my follower history on Twitch, but that doesn't mean that I don't dislike watching certain people because of this. It's just I don't have a lot of time to watch every stinking person on the planet. So no, I don't. But you go and assume that way, Glass. You assume, and you're judging people based on that. And you make those assumptions. Stop assuming people hate because they don't want to learn a freaking don't want to learn Spanish, don't want to learn another language. I really hate that. Don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with that. Glass, actually, you're not... Birthright citizenship is not going to affect you. Birthright citizenship is people who are born here on in the United States, pretty much, basically, or in that regard. You were adopted into the United States. You were adopted that way. You were born in Guatemala, but adopted into the United States. You'll be fine because of that. But I hate this. I hate driving like this. They really need to fix their stuff. But yeah, no, the birthright citizenship thing is a little bit concerning. Though, we'll find out tomorrow on this, on tomorrow or Wednesday, we'll find out what the Supreme Court has. Why? Okay, I'm totally confused as to why I am so totally confused as to what I'm doing. Hold on. No, the birthright citizenship class is totally not going to get rid of the adoption. Adoption is different than birthright. Birthright citizenship is pertaining to people born. If you're born on a naval base, you could be affected. If you're born in places like that, or born in the United States, I don't know a whole lot about it, though, to be honest. Don't know everything that's going on with it. Because, to be honest, it doesn't affect, I don't know if it'll affect me. It could affect me, to be honest, Glass. 'Cause I kind of feel like that I did, unless... Well, no, because I'm coming from this point here. So I'm wondering if I came up this way and I was supposed to go that way. That's... So I don't know. The birthright citizenship one is... If it's gone, it's going to be basically affecting the Constitution. And to be honest... birthright citizenship has been here since the 1800s. So, I don't know. I don't know, Glass. I don't know what birthright citizenship is going to affect. I don't know who is it going to affect the most. I don't know what is going to happen with this. Yeah, no, I'm supposed to... I don't know why. I feel like... Yeah, I feel like I've... That's why I went back a couple, just to fix my issue or fix my mistake. I don't know. Birthright citizenship could affect even U.S. born citizens too. So I don't know, to be honest, because most of the time, Glass, the birthright citizenship was set up because of slavery, and it was initially because of that, and what was going on in the 1800s with slavery, and they gave them basically birthright citizenship. Technically, anybody who I don't know how it's going to affect. I don't know who's it going to affect. I just know that if we do end up getting rid of birthright citizenship, it's going to affect millions of people. That's going to affect a lot of people. It's going to affect even my sister, because if that's ended, it could affect her as well. Because, to be honest, you know, it's I don't know. I just know that it will affect at least those people who were not necessarily born in America, but born on a military base, or born in something like that. Because it's going to affect a lot of people like that, and it's not right. There is going to be a lot of presidents that won't be happy because of it. And I don't think...
イベント録画が行われました。
Are you serious? Hold on. Let me check a thing here. Because I don't think it was under basically, Glass, it's not going to affect you. Okay? Just let me just to be clear, it's not going to affect you in any way, shape, or form. It basically says anybody born or naturalized within the United States. It might be you. I don't know, but to be honest, we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully it just stays because of the jurisdiction thereof, which basically implies that if you are on a naval base, you are considered an American citizen if you are born on a U.S. naval base. So it will affect a lot of people. And if tomorrow it becomes a 9-0 thing where they protect the birthright citizenship, if it becomes something else, then a lot of people are going to be screwed up, including the Native Americans born on the reservations, the Native Americans on the U.S. reservations, here, will be affected. As well, because they were excluded until 1924. So it could affect them. It could affect anybody. It's going to affect probably even into a lot of places like that. But I don't know who it would affect. Not exactly I don't think it's going to really necessarily affect a lot of people born here. I don't know. I don't know. I just all I know is that at least it, like, to me it seems like it just affects people who are not really born in America, or people who are born here but not really. I don't know. It's complicated, to be honest. It's been one of those things. That's why I don't talk about it very much. It's because I don't know a lot about it, and I usually stick away from it. And things like that. Um, on things, um, and things like that. And it's one of those things that I don't quite understand on it. So I have to really study up on it more before I can really do about it. And if we do, I will probably maybe see some things, but to be honest, the one thing that I do know most about is the transgenders, and mostly about that, and mostly sometimes about technology and things, but I do not know a lot about, when it comes to birthright citizenship, though, and I don't know a lot. That's why that's why I don't quite understand a lot of things when it comes to things like that, but within the trans community right now, we are more at risk than ever. And to be honest, we are at risk because it affects a lot more than people realize. And with a lot of these trans people being at risk, there are people literally at risk because of who they are. In some of these red states, including Tennessee right now, where Tennessee is basically taking medical data and actually collecting all the trans people's medical data and putting them in a list. And that's not right. That's wrong in my book. That is so totally goes against a lot of things. And on a lot of things, and it's really on that issue where they're collecting the data, they're going to probably end up using that against trans people, maybe rounding them up. Don't know, who knows. But they did something similar in 1930s. They're going after people within the trans community who happens to in Kansas. It's not just Kansas, by the way. It's not just affecting Kansas. It's affecting Missouri. It's affecting South Dakota. It's affecting even Idaho. To be honest, Idaho is actually kind of up there within being some of these. Right now, it's the foremost, probably worst states right now to live in as a trans person is probably 4, at least probably 5, if you really want to be technical. The 5 states are not necessarily, are all red states, by the way. Florida, Texas, Idaho, Kansas, and Tennessee are probably the 5 places that you do not want to be living in at the moment. And you probably should figure out a way to get out of there. if you can, and don't just stay and don't just be in that area and be in that place of it. And probably try to get yourself out of there, because Kansas basically, Kansas invalidated driver's licenses. Idaho is banning anybody who basically is perceived to be transgender working in the going to the bathroom. And to be honest, anybody perceived can get into trouble, can get 5 years in prison, and can get up to life in prison or even worse. So it's right there within that, and and it's like I said, it's worse in a lot of these places, and it makes it really tough for being trans in the United States right now, because trans people are at risk. A lot of people who are trans will get into a lot of these places, are really troublesome for trans people, and that's not right. We should not be putting trans people in harm's way, because like I said, there was this thing recently in Minnesota. I've talked about this yesterday, but in Minnesota they had a kid, a trans kid, not a trans kid, but a teenager. Sorry, sometimes I get those two mixed up sometimes. A teenager was harassed, and basically was basically asked whether they were not, and it traumatized them. It's that point to this person does not want to go out into public, and they're not trans. This does not just affect trans people. This affects women, children, and a lot of these Republicans do not seem to really understand that. Do not seem to understand that. There are a lot of these people that need to understand that it affects not only these kids, but it'll affect women too, because even in the IOC, basically it'll affect pregnant women. It will affect them, because if that woman is having to create the other hormone, that's gonna affect them from being able to participate. Just because they were pregnant like a month ago and didn't realize that they were, or they were getting to that point, and they happen to be, needing to go get that test, and then they won't be able to compete anymore because they happen to have the SRY gene, to be honest. And it sickens me as well when, Trump is basically dogging on Gavin Newsom for having dyslexia, and it's like, it's sad to see that people are going after people because they have a disability or things. I'm telling you, I don't go after people for speaking Spanish. I don't care. You can speak your language all you want, but if you're going to speak to me, and you're going to speak to me, you need to be speaking in English. I'm not saying that you can't speak Spanish. I'm not saying that you can't speak Japanese or speak another language. I don't care. I don't care. Your language you can speak whatever language you want. I'm not gonna stop you from speaking, and I'm not gonna stop you from that. But if you're gonna speak to me, it's like I always say, it's like you need to at least speak to me in English, because I'm not gonna go out of my way just to go and translate something that could be potentially perceived wrong, because translation sometimes can have a different thing. It's like you go and I think in one language, I can't remember, where in the Book of Mormon they basically had to put a thing at the bottom that basically said that they had to put in the notes, footnotes, big brother and little brother kind of thing. Where, because in some languages like little and big, they don't have those things to do it. So it's like sometimes languages can be different than what is actually being said and things. So language is going to be a barrier for a lot of people, and of course, but that's not meaning saying I dislike those people. I don't. If you're going to be, I judge you based on your actions. I don't judge you based on your how you look. I don't judge you based on those things. If you're somebody that you know you identify as this or you identify as that, I don't care. If you broke the law, if you did unspeakable things to kids or an adult or whatever it is, then that's wrong. You did wrong. You're pretty much basically identified as a P word. I'm not. You're identified that way, and that's how you will be. And sometimes that's not always correct either. But it's most people will I'll tell you, most of these things that people will tell me, oh well, you're like I hate certain no. We need to go this way. So it's based on what people need to understand is that you can have you can be this way and you can be a wonderful human being and being a fantastic human being. Okay? And that's great. That's fantastic. There are a lot of good people that make your favorite video games, that make it, you know, like a lot of my favorite video games are Japanese people. Like play a lot of Japanese video games. I play a lot of games or American games, or games that are not necessarily made in these locations. It doesn't mean that I dislike them or dislike these places. I don't. But when it comes to understanding the importance of hating on somebody, you're hating on somebody because they're dyslexic, and that's what Trump based. That's the whole thing is you don't want to. I don't judge people. Like I said, I don't judge people based on looks. I don't judge people based on the thing. I do occasionally will say something that, oh, that shoe does not really work well with that outfit, but that's just me being somebody who understands fashion a little bit more than probably some other people do. But that doesn't mean that, you know, that I'm perfect at it either. So I don't necessarily go out and say, oh well, that, you know, on it and things like that. And I also don't, you know, it's the whole point. It's like people will call the President of the United States the Orange Man, because that's what he looks like, and that's not, and to me, I just, you know, I don't. But if you're gonna call yourself this, and you're going to be part of that, you're going to, and you're going to continue to do it, then you're part of something that I cannot be a part of. I don't care. You can be a Republican and be somebody that's a relatively a good human being and actually care about the people rather than caring about one man. And that's a thing. But when you have somebody in Nebraska, earlier in the week, you know, Nebraska was kind of, it has basically, created, really, ended up creating this, this Republican. They basically ended up creating a Democrat in Nebraska as to siphon away votes from this independent that's running against them, and that's ridiculous. They are literally trying to siphon votes away from somebody that they know that they're probably going to lose, and that's not right. You have, if you want to win, you need to play fair. Okay, you need to just don't embed somebody into these things and just put them in there, and then no, if you want to be if you want to do right, then go and do right and actually become a good, decent human being instead of just trying to cheat your way to victory and trying to cheat your way around and getting things done. But of course, that's how the Republicans are doing things. They literally want to pass Trump literally wants them to pass the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act will disenfranchise many people. They don't care. They want to find ways to stay in power as long as they can stay in power. And that's not right, to be honest. Forcing people to stay in power, or forcing people to, or finding ways to basically continue to have that power, you need to, and you're afraid that you're going to lose, then maybe you need to stop doing what you're doing and actually buckle up and actually change your views and change the things that you need to do. It's the whole point. I don't like it when people go in and hack the game just to hack the game and to get a leg up and try to get a win, because that's what they do in a lot of these online games. They try to hack the game so they can always consistently win, and that's not right. I don't understand why we have to go through people trying to do it. Now, I understand I have to remember which one do we go to. No, we don't go to that one. Do we go to Mizazaki or Inoshu? That's the thing I have to think. Um... Um... Okay, so it's probably, it needs to go Not that one. It needs to... Am I going the... Okay. Hopefully I'm going the right way. Wow. Okay, so we're gonna actually have this fully done in no time, because it's literally right here is where we're supposed to go. So anyway, it's actually the one in the back. That we're supposed to go, so it's... Oh. Whatever. That's just gonna give us a little bit more variety in our day. But I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm gonna get off because it is that time. Did I miss any of the topics? I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. I don't think I missed anything, but yeah, to be honest, you know, it's literally lashing out at people because they may have some bad things, and of course, but if you're gonna look at somebody like Trump and say that, oh, he's having a cognitive problem, well, yes, but he also was the one that basically was calling that to Biden when he was in office, and that's not right either. Because yeah, and it was not right. No. Thank you. Because it's not right for people like that to go after somebody for having that issue. But if you're not, but if you're going out there and you're you're forgetting things, and or not trying to remember things, and trying to you say this thing one day, but then the next day you don't remember what you said the other day. It's kind of, and it's consistent, then yeah, there's a problem. But it's a lot of it is the health of Donald Trump is deteriorating, and this is why I kind of don't like when what we should really be focused on is that you should be able to pass a cognitive test. You should be able to, not the cognitive test that Trump wants, just a cognitive test to make sure that you have the memory, and to make sure that you don't have, like, people who need the cognitive test for dementia and things, to make sure that they are able to run for president, and make sure they can be able to do those things. And making sure that if there are any health risks or anything, and and things like that, sometimes that we should be looking into those things and making sure that we have those things properly done. But hating on somebody because they're dyslexic, or hating on somebody because they have a disability, or hating on somebody because they are LGBTQ, or because they're hating on people like that, that's not right. And it's not right for people like that to go out and hate just because you choose and believe that you want to put hate towards people like that, and hating somebody because they can't cognitively do something, or because they can't willing to do something is kind of there. But if they're not getting the enough skills or the enough things, that's a different story than hating on somebody. Understanding things and understanding the things may take some time to understand the real world. It takes time for some people to understand a lot more than others, but there's a lot of things that go on with things like that, and it's just not right to put people out there and hurt people's lives because you don't agree with it, or because you don't want to get vaccinated because you don't want your child getting autism. Well, if you don't want your child getting autism, don't have kids. That's the whole thing. You protect your child. You do the best thing that you can do. And the best thing you can do is to make sure that they are vaccinated, make sure that they have everything. Because guarantee you that that's the best thing you can do. And you're not only protecting your child, you're protecting everybody around you. Those are the things that I will say, no, I am not going to hang out with you if you're going to have those views that you don't want people who are autistic, or you don't want anybody who is like not willing to get vaccinated. If you're not willing to get vaccinated, then yeah, I'm not going to sit there and be around you because I don't want to get sick. I don't want to do these things. I'm not saying that you don't have to. If you don't want to do that, then that's your choice. But it's also my choice not to be around you. And if I don't know that you're vaccinated, and I don't know, that's a different story. But if I find out that you are, then no. I'm not going to do that, because I am not going to sit there and tell you that you're not willing to do that. And that's a problem with me. But anyway, there's those things when it comes to getting vaccinated, or medical things. When there is something out there and you're not willing to take the preventative care, then maybe. But if you've been trying all these things and trying for what it's worth, and you still can't, then that's a different story. That's you're doing that. And I'm not going to say that if you're not willing to go to a doctor, you're not willing to at least listen to a doctor and willing to follow his hers, their directive, or whatever. Okay, not following the doctor's orders, or not willing to. Okay, now if you're really wanting to have a second opinion, that's fine. Having a second opinion, having a third opinion, having something to. But if you're going to having 3, 4, 5 different opinions, and all 5 of those opinions lead towards the same exact opinion, then you need to listen and try it at least. Don't just, and also don't just trust any doctor either. Make sure that you vet the doctor, make sure you do all these things. Just like you would want to vet somebody voting for you. You're voting, doing that. But anyways, guys, I'm going to get off because it is that time for me to get off. So anyway, I am going to tell you, we'll be back probably tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a day where, tomorrow is going to be a day for, it's going to be a day of Final Fantasy 13. Hopefully nothing breaking comes out. Like, I did come out and say breaking because of this or that, so